Hello. So we left off last time talking about how Hera wants to kind of turn this prophecy that led to Zeus's boast. She kind of wants to turn this on its head and keep Hercules from being born, but hasten the birth of Hercules' cousin Eurystheus. And so she calls Eileithyia, the goddess of childbirth, and also her daughter, and says, I need your help. I need you to prevent a birth while I go and hurry a birth. And so Eileithyia goes to Alcmene's house and she prevents Hercules' birth. And what she does is this sort of sympathetic magic almost, where she, we'll talk about that here in a minute. Anyway, Eurystheus is born first. Eileithyia does prevent Hercules from being born. Eurystheus is born first. And what happens is Eileithyia kind of sits outside of Alcmene's house with her legs crossed, her fingers entwined with one another, and it's sort of this almost sympathetic magic of kind of, for lack of a better term, closing everything off so that Alcmene cannot give birth. And so the way eventually out of this whole situation is there's a slave girl, a maiden, who belongs to Alcmene, and she comes out to Eileithyia, who's sitting there on the porch, and says, hey, my mistress just gave birth. And Eileithyia is so shocked that she, untangles her hands, uncrosses her legs, and inside, Alcmene, finally, the magic is broken. Alcmene can give birth. Out come Hercules and his half-brother, Iphicles. And now the slave girl who helped bring about the birth, Eileithyia gets so mad at her that she turns this girl into a weasel. Kind of a bummer for her. Iphicles is one of the children, one of the sons that's born. He's Amphitryon. And then you have Hercules, who is Zeus's son. And I guess you could say that, for those 9 months they were womb mates. Here's a picture. And you'll notice, now this is interesting, and I think we've seen a few of these now, where you'll have, it's almost like a comic strip, only instead of having boxes for each of the individual things, each scene, you'll like have a scene out front, and then you'll have a scene toward the back, and then you'll have another scene out there. And so it's sort of displayed differently than how we would, but you can kind of follow the story if you pay attention. So here's Alcmene, and just can't seem to give birth. And then here is where the young lady goes out, and you'll notice here's Eileithyia, all with her fingers entwined, her legs closed up. And this is where the girl says, hey, she gave birth. And then here's Eileithyia realizing she's been tricked and beating the girl. And then here in this last thing, she's turned into a weasel. Now, so Hercules is born. Now, he wasn't born when he was supposed to be, when he could have been ruler of Greece. That ended up falling to his cousin Eurystheus, who was born early, who's kind of sickly, and that will come into play more as the story proceeds. Anyway, as far as Hercules, his early years, Hera's anger continues. We have the unfortunate snake incident, and she sends 2 snakes. Now, I realize that in the Disney Hercules, that I'm pretty sure those are sent by Hades, and they're like his companions, Phobos and Deimos. But in reality, no, these are 2 snakes that are sent by Hera. Iphicles, the son of Amphitryon, he wakes up and cries. Hercules, the son of Zeus, wakes up and kills the snakes. He strangles them, in fact. So I've got several snake pictures to show you here. The first one is a Greek vase painting kind of thing. And I love the painting, and it's interesting because they portray Hercules as being blonde-haired, and you'll hear that in some of the stories that he's referred. He doesn't have dark hair. And, there's Iphicles, and this is interesting. We're going to see this a lot in the art. Notice the snakes on the fringe. That's Athena, and she's kind of portrayed in the background, always kind of keeping an eye